In the heart of the Balkans, specifically in Bulgaria, a unique and often controversial cultural phenomenon is unfolding: the bride market of the Kalaidzhi Roma tribe. This centuries-old practice continues today, raising profound questions about identity, human rights, the role of women, and the limits of tradition in a rapidly changing world. To understand this phenomenon, one must delve into the details of the Kalaidzhi community's life, explore the historical, social, and economic backgrounds that shape this tradition, and listen to the voices of its participants, particularly the young women at the heart of the event. The Kalaidzhi Roma are a subgroup of the larger Roma community in Bulgaria, distinguished by a unique cultural identity shaped through centuries of tradition, migration, and adaptation. Their name means goldsmiths, a reference to their skill in handicrafts, particularly coppersmithing. The Kalaidzhi have lived a nomadic life for long periods, moving between villages and cities, relying on their crafts as their primary source of livelihood. Despite their reputation for relative wealth compared to other Roma groups, the Kalaidzhi were not immune to the challenges facing Roma communities in Europe: discrimination, social exclusion, and poverty. The collapse of communism in Bulgaria and the subsequent economic changes significantly impacted their traditional livelihoods, forcing them to seek new sources of income without abandoning their cultural identity. The Kalaidzhi adhere to strict traditions, most notably the practice of premarital virginity and the practice of arranged marriages through the bride market. Their distinct language, dress, and social etiquette distinguish them from other Roma and from wider Bulgarian society. This distinction is a source of pride for them, but it also leads to their marginalization. The bride market is typically held annually, often in the spring, in open fields or public spaces that can accommodate large gatherings. The place transforms into a festival of color, music, and dance, where families gather to celebrate, socialize, and conclude marriage alliances. Young women, dressed in their finest embroidered traditional clothing and accompanied by their families, are showcased to potential suitors. This display is not as passive as it may seem. Rather, the young women participate in conversations, demonstrate their social skills, and sometimes their singing or dancing talents. The goal is to assess compatibility and interest from both parties. When a suitor and his family show serious interest, the bride price negotiations begin. This bride price, which can range from $500 to $15,000, is not simply a price for the bride. It is a traditional agreement that symbolizes the value of the marital union and reflects the social and economic status of both families. Negotiations can be lengthy and complex, and are subject to precise criteria related to the bride's beauty, skills, education, and the status of both families. In Kalaidzhi society, a girl's virginity before marriage is considered a symbol of the family's honor and moral integrity. From an early age, girls learn the importance of preserving their virginity, not only to ensure their marriage prospect, but also to preserve their family's reputation and the dowry they may receive. Although some girls receive formal education, the greatest emphasis is on learning domestic skills, cooking, sewing, and household management. These skills are essential for the role of future wife and mother, and are considered part of marriage preparation. As the market approaches, special attention is paid to the young women's appearance, choosing traditional dresses, styling their hair, and wearing jewelry. Their appearance reflects their family's status and their suitability as a bride. Preparation is not limited to the physical aspect. It also includes training girls in market etiquette, how to interact with suitors and their families, and understanding the nuances of negotiation. They are also psychologically and emotionally prepared to face the reality of marriage, the expectations of their new family, and the changes that will occur in their lives. In an era of growing awareness of human rights and gender equality, the bride market stands at a crossroads. Critics argue that this practice reduces women to commodities, violates their right to choose, and perpetuates stereotypes and inequalities. The Kalaidzhi, on the other hand, assert that the market is an essential part of their identity, a means of preserving tradition and social cohesion. The perspectives of young women participating in the market are not homogeneous. For many, the market is a tradition they grew up with and an event they look forward to as a milestone in their lives. It represents the moment they enter the adult world and accept new responsibilities. On the other hand, there are young women who consider the market an outdated tradition, incompatible with their aspirations for freedom, choosing a partner, and marrying for love. Some have even gone so far as to run away from their families to avoid participating, despite the significant social and familial risks. The decision to participate in the market often results from significant family and community pressure. For many families, the market is not just a tradition, but a means of securing their daughters' futures and maintaining social ties. For others, it is a source of income from selling their daughters. The expectations placed on young women to comply are enormous, leaving them little room to challenge or choose alternative paths. Like many traditional communities, the Kalaidzhi community faces a significant challenge in balancing the preservation of its cultural heritage with the adaptation to modern values related to individual rights and freedoms. This balance becomes even more complex when it comes to deeply rooted practices such as a bride market, which are closely linked to the community's identity. With growing awareness of human rights and the changing aspirations of new generations, the future of the bride market remains an open question. Will it continue as a tradition rooted in Kalaidzhi identity, or will it change or disappear over time? The answer depends on the community's ability to adapt to changes and on the internal dialogue between generations about the meaning and limits of tradition. The bride market of the Kalaidzhi Roma tribe in Bulgaria is not just an annual event or a traditional practice. It reflects the complexities of identity, the struggle between authenticity and innovation, and profound questions about the role and rights of women in traditional societies. At the heart of this market stand young women, caught between anticipation and rebellion, carrying the hopes of their families and their personal aspirations simultaneously. As the Kalaidzhi continue their journey to confront contemporary challenges, the bride market remains a symbol of the broader struggle facing many communities around the world. How do we preserve our heritage without neglecting human rights and individual dignity? How do we give new generations the freedom to choose without losing our cultural roots? The answer is not easy, but it begins with listening to all voices, especially those that have been silenced for too long.